Okay, in the previous module, we showed that nodes on the main stem and on fruiting or sympodial branches give rise to either stem sections or to fruit forms. In this module, we're going to examine the arrangement of those fruit forms and the branches on the plant. The first nodes on the plant, as we indicated before, are the cotyledonary nodes. They occur opposite of each other on the lowest part of the stem, lowest part of the main stem. Above that, we can start seeing nodes that are arranged in the plant in a spherical fashion. This arrangement of the leaves or stems on the plant is called phyllotaxy. Cotton normally has a 3/8 phyllotaxy. Now, 3/8 phyllotaxy means that if you start here at this node and spiral up the plant 3 times, you'll end up at a leaf structure or stem structure in the same position on the stalk as you began. So it's 3 spirals, you go past 8 nodes. Now the reason for that, as you can see on a smaller plant, is that this causes an arrangement of leaves that it makes it very efficient for light to get down into the plant canopy. So it kind of positions the fruit around the plant. Above the cotyledonary nodes, we typically will have 1 to 4 aborted nodes that do not produce a branch. These are typically down in the plant canopy, and simply there's not enough light for those nodes to develop. Above the aborted nodes, then we can have generally 0 to several vegetative branches or monopodial branches. Now these monopodial branches are long and continuous, and if we take them off the plant, they look very similar to the main stalk. They have a similar type structure in that they will have a phyllotaxy of branches and leaves on them. Also, they do not have any fruit borne directly. There's no fruit borne directly on the monopodial branch. Now, there can be fruiting branches coming off of the monopodial branch that will develop fruit. And again, this is very much like the main stalk. The bad part of these monopodial branch fruits, the fruit that comes off of these here, is that they very late maturing and typically contribute less to yield. So the monopodial branch has kind of a good and bad. The good part of it is that it is able to fill in a sparse stand. And as you get plants farther apart, you typically will have more monopodial branches and they become more dominant. The bad part is that they tend to be late maturing. The fruit on them become late maturing. And also, if you have very dominant vegetative branches, and with a lot of boughs on them, they are vulnerable to lodging or actually breaking away from the plant structure, and therefore cannot harvest the boughs on them. The second type of branch on the plant, as we go up past these vegetative branches, is the sympodial or fruiting branch. Now these are very different from the monopodial branch in structure because they are a zigzag shape. And basically what's happening here is the growing points or buds that we mentioned in the earlier module form a segment of the fruiting branch that terminates into a fruit form, and then a second segment is initiated. So you can kind of think of a fruiting branch as just a series of small segmented branches hooked together. The fruiting branches have a very typical zigzag shape, and that comes from where the angle of the bud is at each one of these nodes. It's kind of goes at one angle at one, then back another. So you end up a very zigzag shape on the plant. One of the important things that we often will look for is where is this first fruiting node on the plant? And the way we count that is we first come down and find the cotyledonary nodes, those 2 that are opposite each other on the plant. In cotton, we refer to those 2 nodes as node 0. The first aborted node is node 1, and then we start going around the plant and we can just fill up these nodes and count up to where that first fruiting branch is. Typically, we will find that perhaps as low as node 4. Most commonly, it's about node 5 or 6. If you get in very heavy, dense plants, that first fruiting node is can be pushed up even farther. So that's basically the two types of branches. In the next module, we'll look at how the fruit develop on these two different branches.